Welcome to Rock the Crown. Hey, what's up, Crown Nation? Welcome to Rock the Crown. Of course, you are watching and listening to Rock the Crown, which is the podcast that is a show that talks all about all the things leading to the full life of the Muslim woman and the legacy for us as Muslim women. But today, we're talking about Black men and mental health. Face the trauma, release the drama. Okay, I know some of you all are like, what? Okay, so today we have some super special guests, and I want to go ahead and introduce you all to all of the guests that we have here on stage with us today. We have Brother Gamal Dewees, who is the CEO and founder of the Helping Hand Travels LLC, a certified behavior modification and anger management specialist who worked in the field of social service and behavioral health over 3 decades. Let's give the brother some snaps up. That's behavior for us today. Okay. We also have Brother Paul, who is the author. He is a certified mental health first aid and anger management specialist. And today he is going to be talking to you a little bit about anger management and what role he plays inside of the Helping Hand organization. We also have Miss Tiffy, who is here representing her company. It is the men's grooming specialist. She is the president and CEO of King's Palace Men's Grooming and Wellness Center. And if we have some people coming on a little bit later, we will talk about them as they come on. But welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we are super excited because we know that this topic.
Thank you for having me.
And the conversation, I love it, about Black men and mental health is extremely important. And we also know that this is a topic that not a lot of people are talking about. So, Brother Gamal, I want to start off the conversation. And the question is, why is it important for us to be having this conversation about Black men and mental health?
Thank you for having me. Well, it's important because a lot of Black men hold their emotions in, their anger, their trauma, and don't release it. And when you don't release it, it causes more than just a mental problem, it causes physical problems. You can get a Bell palsy, a mild stroke, you can get a heart attack. You can do things to your body that over the time will take you out of here because of holding in your anger and your trauma, not dealing, not facing it. We like to talk about the trauma, especially with Black men, because we don't talk it out. Most of the time, we go to jail because we fight it out. Most of the time, some people get hurt because we are physical. You know, if someone says something that hurt us or we don't go through things appropriately, we become physical before we become verbal. So I want to change that behavior by changing the cognitive behavior that will change the physical behavior. And put those two together. When you do that, we will change the behavior of people to enhance the quality of their lives.
Excellent. And Brother Paul, because you are dealing with the anger management aspect of the business, tell us some things that you kind of come across in dealing with Black men and anger.
We tend to think that anger is a superpower. We think that as we charge up the anger, we're using it like a bolt of lightning, and that's one of our solution. What is it? what's the word for it? The proper word for it is conflict resolution.
Mhm.
And if we use that energy, we always use it wrong. And I think that's one of the things that is used against us also when you're looking at yourselves out in public, dealing with the police, dealing with authorities. If they can make you angry, you lose your voice. So I think it's so important that we ease that out as soon as we can and get the most important thing is the pause, not your automatic reaction. You need the pause so you can think right and do the right thing because it can last forever. It can last 10, 20 years being locked up in an instant, in a moment, as we watch social media and the things that happens, especially like what you see in the gas station and stores. You they didn't come in for the conflict, but their only solution for the conflict is more conflict, is anger. But the anger has nothing to do with the moment. The anger is already in them. And so I think if we can learn, I swear, when I took the course, it was the pause for me. Is to evaluate the situation. Is it me or is it someone else? And that's really important. If you can just teach yourself that.
Okay. I have a couple of questions I want to follow up with that. So when men are dealing with, and when they're in the anger phase, are there some steps that they need to take in terms of their thinking in order to, as you say, get to the pause? Because we know that anger is not necessarily the first response, it is the second emotion. So, like, of course, I was angry because I was disappointed. I was angry because I was embarrassed. I was angry because you hurt my ego. And so when they're in that anger phase, we know that it's hard to reach them. And so what are some steps that we as women and other people around, other Black men, even other Black men, can take in order to de-escalate them while they're in that anger phase?
Gamil, you want to answer it or you want me to answer?
Yeah, no. Mr. Paul.
You can answer it. You can answer it.
Okay. What you do not heighten, do not go higher. You know, we tend to be the biggest one in the room. Sometimes when it pops off, you don't need to go higher. And our voices are one of the things that do it. It's like, what you say? And then the response is he wants to be louder. So if you kind of hold it, I don't know if you ladies notice in the background, I was a Marine for 23 years. So for that to come out, it shocks the room. But when you're dealing with people who have an anger issues, you should not go higher than them. Because if you generate a force bigger than them, then they're going to try to match the force. And now you have escalation. And some of these young people are carrying guns and things like that. Their anger goes right to their solution. I'm going to protect myself and I'm angry. So I would say that's it. Do not try to allow this to escalate because it's so important that we get to the other side. And if we could actually talk to them, you find out the anger is not the energy right here. It's from something else.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking about a question as far as how do you deal with the resistance and the reluctance? So that's a good thing. So it sounds like that's one of the motivational techniques that you use that you found effective with your clients, so to speak. And so, as I'm listening to you, I was like, that's definitely it, because, one gets loud and then the other one gets louder and then you're just like, keep going with it. So that's good. Just being able to hear that, and especially coming from an African-American male perspective, with knowing. So I guess I'm thinking too, like, how do you get them to acknowledge and know that this is some service that they need and how to engage with them to keep them coming back? And do you ever have it where they involve another person, whether it's their spouse, if they're with someone, or a family member that they're close with, just somebody to kind of help them get through the process easier? Anybody can answer that.
Want me to keep going?
Yes, sure.
Talk about it when it's not happening.
Yeah.
You can't, in that moment, logic is not working. So you have to find a time to talk to them when it's not going on so you can get ready for. You almost have to practice what's going to happen. If you come to the store, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to say, well, I'm going to do what I normally do. I remember like when I first took the course, the instructor says, do people make you mad? I was like, hell yeah, people make me mad. But he says, no, people don't make you mad because being angry is an option. That's a choice. So if you can have a conversation when you're not in it, I think that's your best bet. So what's going to happen when you get to this point? How are you going to conduct yourself? How are you going to avoid the conflicts? Like what time do you normally go to the store where all the angry people are? Or are you you know what I'm saying? When you're drinking alcohol, are you prepared for that? Do you not want to drink alcohol? Do you want to be at home? If you don't have those preemptive conversations, they're going to go right to the same situation and they're going to do what they always do. So I think not in the heat of the moment is going to happen. So if we're thinking about having better men, we need to have better conversations when it's not detrimental to the moment, and then we'll be ready for the moment. I think that's your best.
Totally agree. Totally.
I like to piggyback off of that too. What I like to do is we call mock trials. As you stated, how can we have brothers come back over and over again? And we do things called mock trial. As he was saying, what would you do in this situation? So we would go through that situation in front of everybody else, and then we go to the good, the bad, and the ugly, and show people different ways to de-escalate themselves, not nobody else, because you can't de-escalate anybody else but yourself.
Right.
So you teach people how to deal with yourself and work with your energy and how to recognize that you're going overboard for reasons that are not necessary. And through the mock trial that we have, it goes on for at least of a minimum of 12 weeks. Because you have to have repetitions to do things. Same way you got yourself into a situation, say we get yourself out of a situation, but it takes time. So the mock trials are set up so the person or the people in the room can have a chance to go through these mock trials together and with different people. Because when you look at people's sides and different voices, it sets the tone, and like Paul was saying, in different situations. Some people might say, oh, he's small, I ain't have to worry about it. If you got somebody big, I got to protect myself because X, Y, and Z. So through the mock trials, you get all these tools of what to do if something like that happens. Now, at Georgia Regional State Hospital, I was the supervisor of 2 acute crisis stabilization units for 4 years. So I dealt with the worst of the worst. But I was also a behavior modification specialist in the trailer in there. So I trained people how to work with people that have high severity behaviors. And one of the things we worked with the guys was have a poker face. As Paul stated, raising your voice is always going to raise a problem. So you have a poker face. When somebody says something to you, they have no idea how you're going to respond. And you have that poker face, people will look at you in a different light because now they didn't push your buttons immediately. They're looking to push buttons and for a reaction. What I try to teach them that have a response, not a reaction. They are two different things. When you respond to something, you had a little thought about it. That pause, as Paul was saying. You had that 2 to 3 second pause. You're responding to it. That thought about it. A reaction is somebody hits you, hit right back. You don't even think about it. That's a react. We don't want the reaction. We want to respond. We want people to play chess with their lives. Make sure you make the right moves on that board and stay alive. Do not get mated. Stay on that line. And one thing we do with the youth, we meet them where they're at. We don't like to talk a lot of clinical stuff. We don't like to go into a lot of things that they don't want to hear because they won't come back. So we meet them where they're at. We talk about things that are the legitimate things and get them to the conversation where we want them to be through meeting where they're at. And when I say that is, if a person comes to the door with a situation that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, they're not going to stay or come back.
Right.
Because they have to be as detrimental to them. So we have to be cognizant of who's coming through the door. We have to be attentive to what they're saying. We have to be attentive of how they're walking in because your body language speaks more than your verbal language.
Yeah.
So this is why when we do the anger management assessment, we're watching the full person, the body language, the tone, the eye contact, or whatever's going on. This is why we do the assessment because we can get more from that assessment than we can anybody telling us what's going on.
Right.
So to keep coming back is meeting where they're at, talking about something that they are interested in, and then take that conversation to where we need to be. We shape their mind in the conversation to the point where they are comfortable of coming in and coming back and bringing people with them.
Excellent. And
Mhm.
because I love how you all are kind of like explaining the process, but can you also discuss the program Face the Drama, Release the Trauma? Can you talk about
Yes.
that program for us today?
Yes. Right now, I'm at Gwinnett County Libraries, and I think my last 2 sessions will be up in March. Face the trauma, release the drama, and that is again, if you have something that's going on in your life that's causing you problems on a daily basis, that's trauma.
Mhm.
If you're going through something and you don't know how to get out of it, that's trauma.
Mhm.
So the program is designed for people to come in. If they don't want to talk, that's fine, because again, it's a safe place. If you feel safe by coming in and not saying anything, that's fine by me. But as long as you keep coming back is more important and most important. So it's designed for people to come in and talk about whatever they have on their minds, and the brothers sit down together and figure it out together. So now you have someone that's going to be in the street that you've seen from a program that's with you, and can talk to each other about how to best make a maneuver around a problem. So face the drama is anything that anybody has that's on their chest and they need help with, but they don't know how to ask for help. When you face the trauma and you deal with that trauma, your drama will definitely disappear, because now you know how to approach things differently. Now you know how to. How you,
Yeah, say that again about that drama part. Say it again.
once you face your trauma, your drama will disappear, because it'll be like butter running off of a hot spoon, because now you know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to deal with it, you're always going to have the trauma and the drama. And then people around you will know how to respond to you, because you're always in a tight knit. You're not unwind. And what we look at too is, what a lot of people look at is, we're full of energy. Our bodies are energy. We're on a wave. And if your wave is off sync, and your energy and your level is out of whack, you'll operate but not operate correctly. It's like pulling out a spark plug out of a car. It'll run, but it won't run correctly.
Yeah.
So when you're out of line with yourself, you're always going to have a problem. So again, we work in the wellness, not just the behavior or the anger. We work on the physical as well. Dr. Johnson says all the time, which I love, when we go to different places, she's always said, we're going to give you a checkup from the neck up, but we're not going to get the rest of the body.
I like that.
Can I piggyback off of his physical aspect of it? So the wellness is rounded. So they deal with the mental part of it. With King's Palace, we are the physical aspect of the wellness. So like Dr. Paul said, that facing the trauma before it actually explodes. So with the self-care within, coming to a place when you're able to relax and be comfortable and being open and vulnerable, that starts within. That starts at home. That starts with your neighbors. That starts with your family. That starts with your friends. So if men are okay and think it's acceptable with actually being vulnerable from within, they don't explode as much outside. When they think it's okay to be able to get a self-care day, when they think it's okay to be able to say, hey, I need to take a day to myself, and that's not feminine, and that's not being weak, and that's not being, that's being masculine. That's saying, hey, if I do not take care of myself within, I cannot be good for my family. I cannot be good for my friends. I cannot be good for my kids. So being able, the physical part of wellness, it plays a really, really, really big part. So I just wanted to say, Paul and Gamil had a big.
Yeah, that's why I got my feet done yesterday.
That's real.
And you know, guys, I'm really quick, was the social media changed the thinking of the youngsters, because back in the days, you know, when my family was growing up, I'm a 60 baby, and they came downstairs in suits, dresses, hair done, and went nowhere but stayed on the stoop to talk to their friends. Now they have the people wearing tight jeans, skinny jeans, and still pulling up their butt. So it's about self-care and wellness, and it wasn't feminine back in the days for a man to go get his nails done. You know, and then the number man come through and hand you a pink slip with his nails just done. So it wasn't a thing of femininity back then. It was about, yo, you the man. Look at your nails. Look at your rings on your finger, and then your rings are shining, your nails are shining. It was a different thought process back then. This is
Mhm.
why I like to deal with the cognitive behavior, because we need to change the cognitive behavior. And
Mhm.
once you change your cognitive behavior, your physical behavior will change automatically.
Mhm.
Mhm, mhm,
And before we go on, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nefertari.
I was gonna say the same thing before we move on. We do have a question from our audience. Is that what you wanted to do?
Oh, I wanted to actually have Tippy introduce herself so that people
Gotcha.
will know who she is and what she does. So,
Okay.
Tippy, can you take a little bit of time to do that for yourself right now?
Yes, yes, yes. So first, I want to say thank you guys for having me. I
Mhm.
am the president of King's Palace, which is a men's grooming and wellness facility. We operate all throughout the United States. Our niche is to make it comfortable for men to be able to receive self-care in a masculine environment, throwing out the narrative that it is feminine, that it is self-care, that it is a necessity. So when we're able to get these self-care amongst these men, it's proactive treatments, it's preventative care. It allows them to be vulnerable and say, hey, I can relax in a masculine environment. I can be vulnerable. I can let it all out. I can have a day to myself, and that is releasing a lot of tension and a lot of stress.
Yes.
And actually, the mental health refers them to us. PTSD, the veterans, they need massages, they need reflexology, and when they're in a safe environment, they continue to come back. So our niche is to make it so comfortable and so safe. We throwing out the femininity. It's all lions in there, be comfortable, be safe. And then we connect with the spouses and the wives and the girlfriends that love these men that say, hey, you need a day over here. Hey,
Yeah.
I think I need you to de-escalate over here. And it's okay for you to go there because it's welcoming for you. So that is what we do in a whole. We focus on the physical aspect of the grooming and the wellness.
Well, I know my husband's ready for his groom day.
That is amazing. I love that.
Instagram stories and reels. And look at that person cleaning this man's face. And look at that. I was like, I'm getting the hint. I'm getting the hint.
Yeah.
Tell him he'll probably meet me over there when he get there. So come on now.
Yep. He comes
yes.
on, the mail comes. So even if so some of the fellas and they able, though we're not we're not mental health therapists. We're the physical part of it. But when they get to us, it's like any other, like they're talking. They're talking amongst us. They're talking amongst the men. And with being around men 15 years strong, I've been in this. So I'm around men all day, every day. So I know it starts at home. When they come in, if the wives and the girlfriends and the spouses of these men are fussing, are yapping, are like, oh my, tripping because they didn't take the garbage out and they've been working 16 hours, they have to leave. And when they get outside, they're already built up, they're already heated up, they're ready to explode on anyone. And so when they're able to come on into King's Palace, sit down and relax for 2 seconds, watch the game, maybe get a pedicure, get a massage. So sometimes, because we're such a safe space, sometimes we'll go to the front and XYZ is just sitting there, which is okay. Because when we in a safe place to de-escalate, there's somewhere that they can be versus somewhere they're not supposed to be.
That's right. That's right. I love that.
I love that. So where are you located?
So we're in Little Bern, right outside of Duluth. That's when our physical, but then we do the summits. So our VIPs, we go to them, we travel to them sometimes, but when our physical locations is in Little Bern, right outside of Duluth.
Okay.
Awesome.
And we're going to make sure that we get everyone the address a little bit later in the show as well.
So
you wanted to go ahead and
the address is okay amongst the guests, but we run like a private company, so we don't allow drop-ins, and we don't. So you have to make an appointment and be referred in, because we offer exclusive services, and to be able to continue to offer these exclusive services, you have to be a member or referred in from someone, then you get the address on that occasion.
I love that. I love that. So get your referrals going. People on the screen and all of the whoever's watching, say, hey, Rock the Crown referred.
Rock the Crown referred. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So Nefertari, you want to talk about the comment that we're the next?
Yeah, we do have a question from the audience for you guys. One question is, does drama show up as a narcissism in the person who won't face their trauma?
Yes, it can. And I say it can because, and let me give you a little bit of background. I'm a certified trauma, narcissistic relationship counselor as well. I deal with narcissistic as well. And it can because of the trauma that the person is going through. So it might seem like they care, but it's more narcissistic behavior because of what they're going through. So it can't say yes to everything or no to everything. It depends on that person and situation. So it might seem like it's narcissistic, but it might be caring. I really care about what's going on. So I'm acting this, I'm directing this person going that. But the person that's receiving it might say, nah, you're trying to control me. And that might be right. Again, depending on what took place with the person, the people that's involved, it might be right. But in order to understand what it is, again, this is where the functional behavior analysis comes in at. You have to sit there, listen, observe, watch, and it takes some time to do these FBAs. And for the narcissistic person, they're really good at what they do, so it can be hidden, and you can't tell right away. The person that's being gaslighted and going through these situations might feel that way because of the trauma they've probably been through. This is why it can't be a yes or no situation. It could be, and it may be, but you're not sure until you actually understand the dynamics of that relationship.
Can you explain again to our audience? I know we kind of were talking about it a little bit before we came on the show. Can you explain to people what the definition of the behavior modification analysis is and why you're naming it the what is it? The
FBA.
FBA.
Yes.
A functional behavior analysis. Yes. Okay. A functional behavior, FBA, functional behavior analysis is when you go out to the environment, the person is having the episode. And for instance, if it's a child in school and they keep getting bad reports and they get an IEP and nobody understands why that child is acting that way. FBA will come out and do a functional behavior analysis. That means whatever that child is doing in that environment, we don't interrupt, we don't step in, we just watch and pay attention to everybody in that environment around that child. We watch the people that are interacting with them, whether it's teacher or another student. We watch and see what kind of lighting is going on. We ask in the morning, have the person ate? Is the person okay? Are they going through anything? Are they physically okay? Are they medically okay? Are they taking medications? So we take a lot of data in to see what's going on. And this goes over a period of time because you have to have something to gauge it on. You just can't say one day it's Y and Z. So for the physical behavior analysis is watching this subject, the person, for a period of time and getting data and taking it back with the psychologist or psychiatrist and sitting down and explaining it to them and let them go through their discipline and say, this is what needs to be done a little bit different. Or we need to get the person medication, or we need to tweak the medication or take them off medication because the medication is making them act that way. So it's a lot in detail with the FBA. Now with the FBA, it leads to the ABA. The ABA will sit there and they say, okay, we have all this data. Now, what do we need to do? We need to come up with a plan for this individual to see how they work on this plan. Now, the plan is not just for the individual. The plan is for the people that's watching the individual. Because if the people watching the individual don't stick to that plan, the individual will go back to that same behavior again. So it's really for the individual to do what they're doing, but for the people that's watching them to take that behavior plan and use it the way we actually use it. For instance, that person is having a behavior for 15 minutes and no one is talking to them. We ask that somebody talks to them within that 15 minutes, see how they respond. We write that down. If the person is not being ignored, or when they have the behavior, they tell Johnny go stand in the corner and doing things like that, which is counterproductive, we ask them not to have them go to the corner. You sit there, don't engage with them. When Johnny stops doing his behavior, you turn to, hey, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Are you ready to continue? You don't move him out the way. You don't send him out the way because he might want to go out the way. So you leave him where that person is at, and you engage with them through our behavior plan that we give them. And we call behavior support plans, BSPs. Those are another thing that we do, behavior support plans, because we want to support that individual in that environment. We don't want to take them out that environment. We want to keep them there and show them how to work through their behaviors. So you have the FBA, the ABA, and the BSP. And those work in tandem together. And again, depending on what's going on, and we get a clear understanding of what to do in this environment and what to do when this behavior pops up again. As Paul says, you have to pause sometimes. Even the person that's watching have to pause, because you can get engaged to the point where you're not really paying attention to the behavior of that individual. You're paying attention to the people that's watching them, their behavior, because sometimes their behavior is this is rude and disgusting, and they don't even know it.
Right.
They do it so long, they're not even cognizant of their behavior. So this is why you have to do the whole entire environment, because everything can either set that person off or make that person come back to what they need to be. Like I said, and that's what it reiterate is, you don't remove them, you don't give them bad consequences, you give them space and time until they stop. When that behavior stops is then when you engage them. We call it the wait strategy. You wait until they stop, and then you approach them. You engage them. So if they throwing chairs and they're not hurting themselves, fine. They're not hurting themselves. A chair could be replaced. If they're harming themselves, then you have to go in and do physical management, which I teach as well. If they're going off and they're throwing the chair and they take the chair and sit down in the chair, the first thing you go around and say, hey, thank you for joining us again. Not thanks for calming down. Not thanks for joining us again. We appreciate it. Is it something that you want to say or do? And you engage and put them into what they want to do. If they say they want to do something, that's fine. Give me 1 second. We need to finish this first, and then we can get to you. So we put their idea in the parking lot, and then we go back and get it again after we get through doing the whole class, because we want that person to be engaged in what we're doing. And the only way we're going to do that is through continuity and care.
So is this a specific age group, or is this a strategy that you can use just across the board with whoever? Like what age groups do you generally work with?
I work with all age groups, and they can be used all across the board. Okay. When we have anybody that's under the age of, I would say 8, we call it play therapy. And play therapy is a little bit different because they're just marking our behavior and what we're doing on threat and play therapy. And it's going to be all, it's all going to be said, everything will be tangible, something that they can touch, something they can do physically. Because at that time, the brain is not developed to make sound decisions. Right. So it's going to be like a mimic situation. For instance, if we have a child that's always screaming, a baby like 5, 6 years old, always screaming, acting up, we would do what we call lion cat. And we would get the person in front of us, hold their hands, and then say, go cat. And we'll bend down like a little cat and go, it's real tight and squeeze. It's a part of yoga, but we don't tell them that. So you're squeezing, you get that blood flowing, and then you say, now go lion. We'll take the hand and go up, go, and that makes them enjoy it. And see how you laugh? It makes them enjoy it. So they're like, oh, let's do that again. So when they have the behavior, say, we're going to do cat, we're going to do lion. Let's do cat, let's do cat. Because they want that behavior to be different. So now the cognitive behavior is changing, and now the physical behavior is changing. So for the children, it's all about mirror and mimic. And then you give them information slowly but surely. But now we're not leaving out the parent or the guardian, because they need to be on the same page and do the same thing we do when they leave our environment. Because if they go home and don't do the same thing we're doing, we're never going to get past that behavior. It's going to keep on continuing. So it's not just about the individual, it's about the whole environment of their household, where they go around, who's around them, their mother, their father, their cousin, their brothers. It takes a lot to change that behavior, especially out of children. Now, with the older people, it's a little bit more different because they have a little bit more understanding of their conscience. So it goes across the board for everybody. It can be used.
Okay.
Now, with that technique, do you have any videos or membership programs that people can be a part of where they can get information about this regularly, or is it on a client? Is it just like client by client basis?
Well, because of HIPAA, we can't video anything of that. And that they want you, the parent can say, yeah, we can do it for their private information. But to video somebody and go through it, we don't do it. You can do it at certain places. I know some places do, but we don't do it because of HIPAA, and it causes a lot of problems if it gets out and people start shaming people again. Like I said,
I'm saying specifically like how you just described the technique to us.
Yes.
Is there a way that the technique can be shared?
Oh,
People
yes.
who maybe like whether again it's through a membership or do they have to come to you regularly? How can they get the information to be able to do it themselves, or do you recommend that a certified behavioral analysis person does that for that specific client?
It could be both. I work with a not-for-profit agency that works directly with behavior analysis. They can call them up and they can do with that, or they can come to a teaching when we have a teaching of what to do through behavior analysis and behavior modification. Now, I won't be able to certify them, but the other company will. So they can come to me, get a couple of techniques, but they want to be certified through behavior modification. They have to go through a class that certifies them and understand what's going on. But I can teach that, yes.
Okay, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nefertari, you have another question? Uh-oh.
I realized I was on mute. One of the things that came to my mind is, all of you all kind of touch on how to deal with behavioral management in different ways. And of course, with King's Palace, it's a whole nother approach. But how do you guys connect with the various professionals as you run into people, especially, we kind of want to focus on African-American men who are dealing with issues and, traumas, drama, all the above. So if there's something that you can address, but then you see that there's something else that they may need under another set of profession, like how do you all deal with that, and how do you connect with other professionals?
So that's what our network. We have a network. Our network is strong, of course. Gamelda Traveling Helping Hands is part. We're all together as a network. So if it's something that is out of our scope of work, immediately we refer right on over to. So and with us being in our profession for so long, we're able to. We're able to pick up on that really quick since we're in our profession for so long. So as far as our physical aspect of it, so usually when they come to us, our men are extremely dominant masculine men. So we speak softly. We're submissively speaking. We're their safe space. So if home is aggressive, when they come over to us, we're the total opposite. So they're more vulnerable with us, and then they're able to let us know on what they're missing or what needs to happen. And remember, we're connected to these wives and girlfriends. So sometimes they need to be a middle person. And with us having really, really good relationships with our clientele, that's why we offer so much exclusive services, because we have a relationship with our clients, because we talk to the women and we talk to the men. But within our facility, they know it's a private space for them. When they release and say, did you talk to my wife today, Tip? Or did you have a conversation with my wife today? So the wives and the girlfriends that are on board with us, we are all connected in one. So once we able to have those conversations together, it makes the home life even better. And if it's something that's outside of our scope of work, physically, we moving over to the behavioral health specialists. We moving over to our mental health specialists that are within our network. And I'm pretty sure you guys do the same, right?
And Dr. Shannon, that's with us, which I love. She's amazing. She's a Morehouse graduate. Dr. Shannon's a Morehouse graduate. And what we've been going around in the past 7 to 8 months since we were getting notices, we're getting a networking of Black providers to help with us. And the reason we're doing that, because we go down to Black Man's Lab and some other places, and I get a lot of time when they come to me is, I don't like my therapist because they're German. They don't like my therapist because they're not Black, and they don't feel comfortable explaining themselves to somebody that really can't understand the culture.
Right.
So we're collecting right now a bunch of providers, whether there's mental or physical providers, but as long as they are Black and they want to help the Black community, especially the Black men.
Well, it's so interesting that you just mentioned that, because I was about to ask about how do you address the cultural sensitivity and diversity in behavior counseling. to ensure inclusivity and understanding around African American men and culture.
Mhm.
So now, before you move forward with that question, Paul wanted to say something, Naima.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say what we bring to the table from our history. Used to work for the VA. I worked with the homeless veterans for 3 years. I've housed over 500 homeless veterans, and I work with 43 social workers. So that gives me a place to tap in. He's a specialist in what he does, and I'm a specialist in what I do with working with the homeless people today. As a matter of fact, I was on LinkedIn the other day, and the mayor of Atlanta is making this proclamation. He's going to work on the homelessness.
Yeah.
And I sent my name to him to say, hey, not only do you want to work on homelessness, let's work on retention to stop the revolving door, because some of them have been off the street and they go back. So with my background, I'm making myself available, even though I left there, I don't no longer work there. But what I've gathered in those 3 years, in those conversations, and his history he brought from New York, and his history of all the other jobs he had prior to, we're going to be able to have other people we can reach out. Those fingers go longer because of our history. Because if we try to do it professionally in a clinician's kind of way, they may not live like we've lived.
Right.
And that's why, I'm an author now, because my books cover, I suffer from PTSD, anxiety, and depression, but I practice mindfulness. So it's everything. When you have a conversation with me, you get the full experience, and that's where the books came from.
Mhm.
There you go. So there's nothing new. We would be surprised if there's something new, but we've all seen it before. And the only thing that's really unique are the people, not the issues that we have. Because you have a name like divorce is an issue, so it has a name. Someone cheated on you, that has a name. So there's nothing new. It's just the people are new, and we're going to have to go through the same steps for everybody to help them to understand that they're great people. They have to love themselves. They have to do them for a minute, for a while. It took me 6 years to get where I wanted to be. So the only way I can do that is I had to learn that, one, I was important, and then I had to allow people to help me. And there we go. Allow people to help you.
Allow.
Not being forced.
I like to add on to what you're saying too. That's taking a long time to get to where you are, and this is why sometimes I'd be blunt with a lot of people, especially when it comes to people that on the borderline of narcissistic and people that are being gaslighted. I tell them, if you really want to stop your past from chasing you, stop, turn around, and face it. Deal with it. Face your trauma, relieve your drama. Deal with it.
Yeah.
If you face it, and there's nothing that can come at you, because now you're not ducking no more. You're going back at it. You're not trying to get out the way. You're not trying to make excuses. You're not trying to say, oh, I can't because. Stop it, face it, deal with it.
Okay. So
I'm sorry. I just see in the notes. I know Paul can't put it in the comments. I can't either, but just wanted to make mention that he's actually written 15 books. So want to give him an opportunity later before we end on just kind of mentioning some of those books. And one of them is called 75% Man. So I definitely want to be able to highlight that. So and I think you might be able to put some of the information in the chat, Naima, for the public to see, because I think we're having problems on our end to do that.
okay.
And then let them know, like, Paul, how to get in touch with Paul, because if he's definitely, he's definitely an advocate for these men. So is Deweese and all of us. Although, we've given all our credentials, we really want to take away from it. We want the audience to take away from how they're able to really get in touch with us, so we can be able to help the community, so we can be able to help our Black men, so we can be able to help the ones that love our Black men to be able to come together. So all our credentials is good, but if no one can get to us, it's definitely
just a piece of paper. That's right. Just a piece of paper. And this is why we do. We like I told you, we want to get out to make people know that, hey, you have help.
Yes.
Okay. And so can you share with them right now where they can reach you and let them know what types of services that you provide at the Helping Hand? Like, can they ask you to come and do group sessions? Do you go to them? Can they come to you? Can they do family sessions? Can they do individual? Like, let them know what types of services, so that that will also be able to help them when it comes to being able to make decisions, because sometimes communities may need some support when it comes to group sessions.
Yes.
And one more question to think about, paired with that one, is how they pay for services. Do you guys take insurance, or what, what is it that they need in order to act?
Okay. Well, starting off, the Helping Hand, you can reach us at 1-800-988-2969 or info@thehelpinghandtravels.com. The service that we provide deals with any kind of behavior and any kind of anger. We deal with all types of behavior. And if the person is bipolar, schizophrenia, we have a psychologist on board to deal with that part of it, but we deal with the behavior part. If you want training, you can definitely call us, schedule a time with us. We can come to you. Because we move around, as the name says, the Helping Hand Travels, we move around. So we like to go out to the environment, because when we go to the environment, things are done a little bit differently, a little bit better. People open up a little bit more. As far as the connect, like again, and I keep Tippy involved, because once Tippy gets that environment going on and she relaxes the individuals, as you said, it starts a conversation with the people as well as we do. But it's so much, and it's needed to be relaxed, physically relaxed, not just mentally relaxed, physically relaxed.
Right.
Once you're physically relaxed, your mental will start to get better. Once your mental start to get better, your body will start to get better. It goes hand in hand. So, and I definitely want, even if brothers don't come out and talk to us, go see Tippy, because I guarantee you, when you get to that relaxation, you're going to open up a little bit more, because as she said, we're private, and we do things differently. So the website also is thehelpinghandtravels.com. And if you go on the website, you'll see King's Palace as well as the Helping Hand. So you'll still have connection that way. But Tippy will give you her information later on, and Paul's with us. And so if you go on that website, you'll get all of us together at one time. We go out for training. We do training. Again, we don't certify anybody, but we can train. And also, I didn't put any, but I'm also a certified CPR BLS instructor. So I do CPR and BLS instructing as well. And this goes hand in hand, because anger can cause problems where a person can have a adverse reaction and might have a heart attack, might get a stroke. You want to know how to help them. So we are a full behavior health company. We just don't do the brain. We do the body and soul. We do the mind, body, and soul. So it's a one-stop wealth of health. That's a one-stop. You can get us any time. Once again, you can get us at 1-800-988-2969 or info@thehelpinghandtravels.com.
Got it. Excellent. Okay.
Great.
Excellent. And
I'm sorry. I mean, cut you off. I didn't say about the payment. We don't take any insurance, but we do take the FSA or the HSA card. We do take those cards, but we don't take the insurance.
Card again?
FSA, or HSA. And those are the flex cards that you get when you're working an employment, something like that, to give you the cards that have the money on already that pay for any kind of medical necessity. So we take those cards, but we do not deal in insurance right now. We are working on that part right now. So hopefully, inshallah, in another 6 to 7 months, we'll be able to take the insurance as well.
okay. And so when people come, is payment supposed to be rendered immediately? Do you have payment plans for people who can't afford it? What are some other ways?
Scale. Yeah, like how do you guys?
For the Helping Hand, we don't have any payment plans. Sometimes I do in-kind services depending on what's needed. If it's not that severe, then I can go ahead and help how much as I can without people having to pay out of their pocket, especially if they don't have it. My thing, again, what we're trying to do is make it accessible for everybody. It's not about the dollar, it's about the care. So we do what we can to make sure people can do it. The payment must be done in full before we have any clients come to the door. They must be paid in full. We don't have a payment plan as of yet, because God forbid something happens to the person and we're not paid, we're still stuck with other things we got to do.
Totally.
Bills got to be paid.
Totally.
Again, I do what I can for people that don't have money. And once I get that person, I would, as you said earlier, we would network with somebody else that have a 501c that can go ahead and help that person. Fortunately, I have a bunch of 501c I can work with, so I can help that way. This is why I don't shy down from anything or anybody, because I'm a problem solver.
Right.
If there's something going on, I know the problem, I'm gonna get the solution.
Right.
Paul, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna pump our heads together, we're gonna say, what can we do? You go that way, I go this way. We come back to the middle, we get it.
Right.
We're gonna make it happen. And then in the midst of all of that, what we do is if they going through something, they're stressed out, hey, go see Tippy. Get de-stressed. We're not
And
you
then
go.
all of our staff is trained.
You're not getting away.
And I had a really serious question. So when someone is having an episode, I know you say that you come to, and this is really more for maybe like teenagers or adults when they're having a episode, maybe the adult male is cursing, maybe he's throwing chairs or, doing some of that behavior. When you're coming to not necessarily to step in, but to watch the behavior, how can you make sure that that behavior does not escalate? But at the same time, you're trying to make sure that you help give that person the care that they need at the time. And then how do you roll them over into your services?
That's when you come into that kind of situation and the person is a high risk individual and they're throwing things and breaking things, you move everything and everybody's out the way. Piece by piece, you move all the furniture so they can't touch anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to what they're saying. Their feelings are valid.
Mm-hmm.
The thought process is. So the feelings is what are they mad about or upset about is valid. And I take that as serious. And ask questions. Do you want to talk? No. I mean, if you continue breaking things, just keep the distance, keep the eyes on them, and let them go through what they got to go through. Because I believe in seeing the full picture. If you tell somebody to stop talking, you never get their full understanding. If you tell somebody to stop doing something, they probably want to do it more because you tell them to stop. So instead, let's go back to the wayside strategy again. If they're doing it and you don't want that person to do that behavior, you ask them to do something that's incompatible with the same behavior. If they banging on the wall, you don't say, hey, stop banging on the wall. Hey, can you do me a favor? Pick that up for me. You stop banging. If they're screaming, you want something to drink? Are you thirsty? You drink some, you stop screaming.
Right.
And some places like and at Georgia Reed, I make a crazy joke about myself. And if they look and laugh, I got them. They're paying attention now.
Right.
So not to escalate it is not to intervene right away.
Mm-hmm.
To observe, to see what's know your surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
and then going slowly and surely. If the person you tell the person, hey, are you okay? Leave me the F alone. That's what you do. You leave them the F alone.
Listen.
You sit there and you move things out the way, because once you take all the furniture, there's not enough to break.
Right.
Sooner or later, that behavior is going to come down because your body is going to get tired of banging, screaming, kicking. It's going to come down. So you make the environment safe for that person and other people at the same time. Mm-hmm. After the person comes down and you get to the point where they either give you one word or one sentences, you stay on that. You meet them where they're at and you work with it. After you get to that rapport where you can get that person, get something to drink, something to eat, just walk around the room in a circle and let them get it off their chest, and you listen to them, and you do what I call the airport translation. They say, man, I had a bad day today because so-and-so did X, Y, and Z. Oh, I heard you say so-and-so did X, Y, and Z to you. What did he do? You stay on that conversation with them so they can get it out. Once you get to that point what they're talking about, then you can say, do you think you could have did a little bit different besides that? Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, before you say anything, are you hurt? Are you down? So let me see you. Because I think you might have hurt yourself because you mad at him. Mm-hmm. Now it's starting to spin now. You give them a little bit more, you give them some information, some tools to work with as you de-escalating the person by listening to the person and watching the person. Mm-hmm. One of our things is never to tell somebody to stop doing what they're doing, because they won't. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to do it more to get you mad, to get you upset.
Right.
So, it's like you go to school and the kids scream, you don't say, Johnny, stop talking. Again, the way strategy. You walk around, Johnny, do everything you picked up, he threw down. And when he say, I had enough of this, and he get quiet, thanks for listening. I appreciate you joining me again. You want to help me clean up? I don't want to help you clean up. You go back to do what you're doing. He's going to stop. He or she's going to stop again. Then you say, thanks for joining me again. I appreciate it. So those little things of being have continuity in the care and cognizant of what they're doing and what you can and can do is going to make a big difference.
Mhm.
So again, when you go into that situation of somebody that behavior, you have to know yourself first. What you can tolerate, what you can't tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
So, you
What
know,
you
as
get.
you were talking, it makes me think about some of the situations that, you know, we've heard in the news. Like, you know, sometimes you see people acting like this and people don't know what to do. And they call the police and it ends up being a really violent situation or
Yeah.
sometimes ending in death
So
because
13s.
they're not trained to handle that kind of situation.
Right.
Now that they have 988 out, and 988 is trying to get the people where the police don't go out, but the behavior modification specialist and the crisis team go out instead of the police. They're trying to get that down. But again, even with that, like I was in New York City and I went through the police academy. I didn't join the police. I went to the police academy and I quit the same day after I got my certificate. That's why I'm not going to be a part of it.
Right.
But the thing is, getting the knowledge and using the knowledge appropriately will help out. As you say, the crisis in the street, when you have a person that's acting out and doing things that are not society acceptable, everybody wants to rush in and give orders. Sit down, stop. There's nothing to do. If the person's not going anywhere, you back up. Give yourself some space. Give them some time to see what's going on. Again, you move things out the way. Keep people away. They have nothing in their hand. They're not a danger. But, but people want to go and approach them and put their authority upon the person for whatever reason. They don't understand the environment.
Right.
And space and time goes a long way.
Yes. Aggression don't work with aggression. That's
Mhm.
you're not going to get anything done with aggression.
But more, like Paul said, more aggression.
Yes.
Yes.
the more aggression. Mhm.
Can I interject something?
Absolutely.
A couple of things I was when we were talking about trauma, we have to know that trauma doesn't fade. It becomes dormant, it'll hide inside, and that's when you need to see Tippy, right? Another thing I want to say, we as men, we push it down. It's kind of like anybody ever rake the leaves in the front yard? Raise your hand. Rake the leaves in the front yard. You push it down in the bag, right? And then what do? You stomp on the leaves to make more room in the bag. Well, men are like that. And then what happens is the bag busts.
Mm.
And now everything that you had stuffed in there is everywhere. That's kind of how it is dealing with men, because the idea we must be strong, we must be this, we must be that. And we can only take so much. And the majority of times we hide it in our spines.
Yes.
Yes.
And I deal with mostly men. I love what he does. And I hardly ever see the young people like that at those ages she's talking about.
Right.
I encounter men, and I encountered the 1013. Like there was a veteran who they had to shoot him the other day in the VAER. You know, so it's at that level where you get to 1013, where 988, I'm glad they came up with it, is a must.
Right.
Yes.
But here's what I find out. Lack of solutions breed frustration.
Oh, nice.
If we don't hand out solutions, the frustration grows to anger, and then you get everything else that goes with that.
Yeah.
I wanted to put that out there. It's so important that we talk about it before, and that's why I said earlier, we talk about it before it happens, because now we can start unpacking that bag, and then then you see life different. I tell you what, the only way that I got help back in 2016, I exploded at work, and work didn't want to help me because they were trying to protect them.
Right.
But there was an older gentleman that was sitting in the lobby. I saw him the next week. I wanted to apologize to him about what he saw me do to another black man.
Right.
And he says, you need help. You need it right now. And you know what? 7 days later, I was in my therapist's office. And then my life began to change right then from that day forward. It was that one conversation. He said it so clear. You need help. I was thinking I needed help prior to that, but he said it. And sometimes it's not the loudest voice that gets your attention. It's a direct eye contact to give you something so powerful. And that's an opportunity to change the direction you're going in. And that's how it was for me. So my journey to this is I've been that angry boy. I've been that angry man, and I know what it takes from you. And I know what happens when you're not connected with your dad. And so when those books started coming out, now we understand how some of these young men got to where they are, and we're openly talking about it, which makes it easier to get our point across because we're relevant people talking to them about situations. Been there, done that. I ain't new to this, but I'm black and blue to this.
And, if I can piggyback off of him a little bit, so someone with direct contact or someone with an understanding told him what he needed, and it wasn't aggressively. It was peacefully spoken to him, and he was able to take that in. And then
Yeah.
what they moved him over was a specialist. So if we're putting our men out there with someone that's not specializing in our men, it's going to be a spiraling downfall. So we have to make sure they're coming to people that are specializing. Our group, our girls are trained to deal with men's mental, physical wellness, grooming, to deal with men.
Right.
So everything we do is for the health and well-being of men. We study men. We have our brothers. We have group sessions. We watch them. We touch them. We listen to them. Now, the spouses are not involved at the shop, but the spouses are involved on the outside because we got to know what is home life over there. What is where is stress coming from? Where is it stemming from? We do have to, but it doesn't take aggressiveness. We speak very quietly at the shop. We give these men a safe spot, a safe space, meaning that if they come to us, it's okay. It is definitely okay. And we specialize in the health and well-being of the mental, the grooming of these men. So when you come into specialists, we already know how to take care of that. We already know how to handle it. And we have a network of specialists that's involved in our men, that's involved in our Black men, that is somewhere where you know that they're safely handled. That is safely handled. So sometimes it's been countless times where our men just laid on the table and the wife will call or the girlfriend will call and say, oh my gosh, he's having a really, and we be like, shh, now, because he just left that at home. He just left that. So now you're calling the shop where it's his comfortable space, where you have sent him to de-escalate. So you got to let us take care of let us handle our job. You sent him over here because you trust us.
Right.
Let us do the job. So sometimes we have to just leave. Sometimes he's so worked up. We leave him on the table. We'll close the door with the lights, with the mood, with the music, and we close. We come out. We speak to that wife. Okay, we can hear you now. Now we can know what we're dealing with.
Right.
Now he's going to tell us what we're dealing with, and then sometimes it's not even an aggressive moment because now we got them into preventative care, proactive treatment. Now it's just a treatment of ongoing self-care.
Yes.
So that's what we like to do. And I did want to just get our information in real quick, how to reach us. It is King's, KINGZ, Palace, PALACE 100 at gmail.com, or please call us at 404-453-4357. And you can also get us on Instagram, IG KP Spa for Men. Either one of those. And we are on the Helping Hands Travel website as well.
Excellent.
And say your phone number one more time.
404-453-4357.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you so much. Go ahead, Neff.
I was just going to say we still didn't give an opportunity to Paul. I want to hear about these books a little bit before we go. I know we're a little over an hour now. At least share with us about the book called 75% Man.
Okay, 75% man is my understanding that boys with trauma becomes dads with trauma. They become husbands with trauma, and that's what you get. That imagine your stomach is being replaced with a tumor, and everything you do is with that tumor. And you love with that tumor, and you do everything. You marry with that tumor. He is not his whole self, and until he addresses that, then he becomes whole. because they're always going to take up the space. He's going to be a bump on a log on the. He's going to have irritated. He's going to be the guys we're talking about. Because he's not treated. He's not. It's not cared for. Mm-hmm. And so once he does that as a child, and it's dormant, but you moving with it just like you have it. So I wrote that book from my point of view that I was not whole because, like my first book, I Am My Own Dad. I grew up without a dad, and my mother told me he was dead, and I met him at age 27. Mm-hmm. Now, that was a whole different thing there. Right. Now I'm a dad, and now all the things that I need, the tools that I need to be a dad aren't there, so I'm winging it.
Yeah.
And then I'm angry, and then it's just a total mess. But if we address it early before they become dads, then they'll have a greater opportunity to get it right. But if you don't do it, then you traumatize your kids with your trauma, and you traumatize your wife. Now everybody's traumatized. Everybody needs some help.
Yeah.
But the key thing is to that book is to say, it starts down there and it grows. It's not the same trauma as if you were in the military, because that's an incident that took place. But your life is like the frog in a pot. You guys know the story about the frog in a pot? You can take a frog and put him in hot water, he'll jump out.
Right.
But if you put him in a pot of water at room temperature and you slowly turn it up, then he'll die.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know the temperatures change. And that's how we move. We don't know. We've grown up in that trauma for so long that we even marry with the trauma, and she's wondering what's wrong with her. And those are the men that have to go see Tippy because she can't figure him out. And he has not got to his why. There's a why you feel the way you are. And until you address that why, everything you do will be temporary. And everything you try to help him with, it won't stick. They'll keep going back until they get their why. And once you get your why, then you can change everything. So you can find me on you want me to tell them where they can find me at?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think my link to my books is my books are in Walmart, Target, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, Goodreads, and on Amazon. I think the link to my website should be negativetopositivebooks.com. You can find me on with that young man up there. You can find me with Deweese, and you can also find me on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, Paul Posey on YouTube, and I got a couple of other more pages on Facebook too. But I'm here to help. So
yes.
Naima, are you able to put the neg2positivebooks.com that's in the private chat? Can you put that on the banner for people to see? I don't know if you're able to do that.
I can put it in the comment. Let me put this in the comments.
Okay.
I'm also available for speaking events too.
Face your drama, relieve your drama. Face your trauma, relieve your drama. Like you said, Paul, once you start, you find out why, what that drama is, your drama will leave.
Yes.
All right. Excellent. So, of course, we have definitely gone over time, but we know how important this topic was. Mm-hmm. And again, if you read in the comments, you're able to follow each of the persons that we had on the show today. And so, again, very, very important if you're looking to have group sessions, individual sessions, have someone come and observe behavior. And as was said early in the show, this is a safe space for Black men to come and speak to someone in a non-judgmental way. It's a safe space for Black men to understand anger management and how to pause. And then it's also a safe space for Black men to have grooming and wellness taking place where they can relax and de-escalate and then begin to the healing process of facing the trauma and relieving the drama. Okay, so
and getting to answer that question, getting to answer that why.
Yes, all of that good stuff. Okay, so again, thank you so much, Rock. Thank you so much for our guest. And again, the Helping Hand LLC, you can find that on Google, on Facebook, on all of those different locations. Make sure that you reach out to Brother Gamel because he is here trying to change the world when it comes to Black men and health. And we want to be the catalyst to help them do that. And so thank you so much, Rock the Crown, for hanging out with us all of this time. Again, we want to make sure that you like us on Instagram. like us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram.
We know what you're saying.
All the social media channels. So again, and make sure that you also share this show with a Black man.
Yes.
Very, very important. But again, thank you all so much. We love you. Rock the Crown.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Enjoyed it. We
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
part 2.
Yes.
Bring you guys back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have me back. Yeah, I'll be
Thank
back.
you. Peace out. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay, everybody hold.
Okay.